Hey, what's up, everybody? We are here live reacting to the NBA draft lottery. We got about 4 minutes until the order starts getting revealed. And we're about to see the Blazers.
It's
get
happening.
Number one overall
It's
pick.
happening.
Honestly,
Brandon Roy.
I know the thing I'm most excited is to see Brandon Roy back representing the Blazers.
Love it. Love it.
It's
Lucky
gonna be
number
awesome.
7. Come on, lucky number 7. This goes without stating is very important for the Blazers franchise, no matter how you look at it. The lower the pick is, the less trade value you get from it, or the less talented the player is. I mean, that goes every year, but
Unless we get Joker in the second round.
yeah, unless you get Joker in the second round, but it happens. It's a very important draft lottery, so I'm sure every Blazer fan's on the edge of their seat, and when we look back at this and we won the number 1 pick and everybody watching then, it's going to happen. Just be ready. I've seen lots of memes, lots of posts all day from all my Blazer friends and groups and everything, just people praying to the basketball gods all day. This is going to have a big impact on our future. I think it has an impact on, what we do with Dame, whether Dame is excited to stay, whether what we do with Anthony or Shaden.
Like me and Colton talked about a little bit last week in our podcast. Check it out if you haven't already. If we get like the number 2 or 3 pick, it starts to become like more of a question of trading Dame, because it's unless you can get an awesome player for the number 2 or 3 pick, a guy like Jaylen Brown, like you mentioned. I almost can't think of anybody else other than like Jimmy Butler.
Embiid.
Yeah, but just guys the teams aren't probably going to give up. Like the likelihood of Philly giving up Embiid or Miami giving up Jimmy is so so little.
I get it.
I mean, for that matter,
likely
Jaylen Brown. The Celtics giving up Jaylen Brown, but
I think it's slightly more likely that Embiid could be on the move now, given their exit. Although I think that them getting rid of Doc is an attempt to try to keep the 2 stars happy.
It's the likelihood of them getting
the point being, you don't want to punt on a number 2 or number 3 overall pick for somebody like Siakam.
Yeah,
Siakam's not a player you trade the number 2 overall pick for, especially in this draft. I know that Scoot is memed because he's another guard, but he's really good. He would probably be the number 1 pick in a lot of drafts, So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, if we end up number 2 or number 3, not going to happen. I mean, number 1.
Yeah, all this is mute because we know we're getting the number 1 pick already.
It is. But you got to decide what you're going to do with Dame at that point. That's why it's so important. And if the pick goes later, if it's the most likely scenario right now is sliding back a spot or 2. If that happens, then it's probably more likely the pick's getting traded than not.
Woj doesn't even have Scoot at number 2. He has Brandon Miller at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be an interesting thing to see.
They're introducing the representatives right now. Let's see. Come on, B-Roy.
When they say B-Roy, all silence on the set.
No, everyone mark out on set.
Little pop.
Oh, Nick Collison.
Nick Collison ripping. Geez, OKC has a
1.7. That's not very high.
I don't even know who that is.
Jalen Terry, that's intriguing there. If Dallas gets the number 1 pick, that's rough stuff.
Colin Sexton. Sexland.
Getting closer to the Blazers spot. Wizards with a 6.7% chance. And then the Pacers.
Reese Halliburton.
Oh, Orlando with the 9% chance. We out-tanked them.
Yeah.
Here comes B-Roy.
Here
comes B-Roy.
What did I see that?
B-Roy!
Let's go, man.
Let's get it.
OKC behind.
He's looking good. He's looking good. Looking
is.
fresh, all white.
That was exciting, that article that you sent us about how he wants to take on some role with the Blazers.
Exactly.
Oh, Udoka for the Rockets.
All right, now we're getting into these
Ben
teams.
Wallace, legend.
Oh, Detroit.
Pistons legend Ben Wallace.
Oh, God.
Okay, so guys, the 9th pick is where we could see the Blazers' name come up first. So from the 9th pick on, when we have to be really nervous, we don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
Do not say
You do me a favor.
Yes. I mean, hopefully, eventually we get a pick.
Why, yes. If I don't trip on camera first.
That would be legendary. Thank you. Make sure the live stream isn't blowing up. I'm here to answer all your questions.
All right, Deputy Commissioner
Mark Tatum.
Oh, that's the draft. Blazers.
Pelicans.
CJ getting another mid-round pick. He's used to those.
Raptors don't move up either.
He doesn't look happy.
OKC
stays put. That's the Orlando Magic's second pick.
Okay, so they got two.
I was about to say that's a free fall.
Chicago didn't move up.
I'm nervous. I'm shaking right now.
Number 10 goes to Dallas.
Dallas didn't
All
move
right,
up.
there you go.
All right, number 9. No Blazers. No.
No. So yeah, nobody's jumped yet, so we can't be number 9.
Okay, well that's good. 9th pick. Utah Jazz.
Utah stays put.
Number 8.
No Blazers.
Washington Wizards.
Okay, so 7th or lower.
Yeah, that's all right. That's where we got Dame, right? Pacers.
Let's go. So no fall.
No fall yet.
No
Well,
fall.
6. 6
Oh
we
yeah.
could fall.
6 is the last chance.
Oh,
go, Magic!
Orlando Magic.
Wait, that means the Magic fell,
Oh,
Let's go.
right? Or
Okay. All these analytics are out the window at this point.
Number 5.
oh! Top 4, guys. Top 4.
Let's go.
Yes!
No Blazers.
No Blazers. No Blazers.
Brandon!
Come on, Brandon!
Brandon!
Come on, Brandon! Let's go.
Top 4, guys.
Top 4.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Woo!
All right. Top 4. Oh, we get a nice little.
Yeah,
nice
break
little
it,
one.
Brandon.
Oh.
Leaving us in suspense.
My body's tingling right now.
Same, bro. I was so nervous. I was like, oh, God.
Top 4 is no matter where
Pick
we fall in
value's
the top
up.
4, that's pretty good.
Pick value is up.
Yeah, pick value is
So,
definitely up.
To keep this in mind, it was more likely to slide back
Yeah.
than it is to move up. And we
Yeah.
moved up. So we'll see if we can at least hit the top 3 mark. You know, that's
big.
that's big. Brandon Miller, Scoot.
Brandon Miller.
Yeah.
John Morant.
John
You
Morant.
gotta quit it, you know. The Chargers were all thrown out.
Oh,
That's what you want to hear about your potential.
gotta love when that's the caveat.
Oh.
It's like, no, guys, he was acquitted.
You never know. You might not be the pick there. But
God, Brandon, bringing us more good luck, man. He needs to be there every year.
come on, B-Roy. He needs to at least be there when the big guns are there. He's gotta be the closer. The natural.
There's internal server errors on mock drafts right now. Everyone's gone through them.
Well, that's pretty exciting.
Already excited,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So who are the 4 left?
Pistons, Spurs.
Pistons, right? Or did they fall?
Pistons were 5.
Oh,
A couple of teams fell.
Rockets.
Really bad.
Rockets, Spurs, Charlotte, and us. We're probably the best team out there. If he
so
wants
yeah,
to
the
go to
mock,
win.
the top 4 is Wembanyama, Scoot, Brandon Miller. I can't. I already forgot how you say his name.
And Thompson.
It was something different than
Is
that.
it?
She said it was all. What?
But I mean, there's guys in there like Jarris Walker's really good, Whitmore's really good, Hendricks. They're all forwards, right? Like there's a lot of good forwards in there, and we'll have our pick, you know.
But we don't have to worry. It's all new because we're getting number one
pick. It's happening.
Which Tankathon says he's a center.
It's
Which goes
happening.
against Colt needs to go on there and edit the Tankathon.
It's happening. The Blazers are getting the number 1 pick. Okay. And the commercials are just never ending. This is
I'm gonna mute these commercials. Oh man, exciting stuff, guys! Exciting stuff.
Yeah. I'm glad they sent Brandon. That seems
I
to be
know.
the trick.
He's the man.
the natural.
I mean, at this point, like I'm hopeful, but no matter what happens, that's a successful.
At least we
draft
moved
lottery.
up.
Yeah, we moved up into a top.
But we're
4
not-
pick.
We're not going for consolation prizes, guys. We're getting up for
Gotta get
Visualize it.
You gotta
Visualize
get greedy.
it, everybody.
Just like in the
fellas.
playoffs
Visualize
after a
it.
win, you gotta get greedy.
It's happening.
Greed is good, right?
Oh yeah,
Let's quote Gordon Gekko
Yeah.
legitimately
Yeah.
with no
irony
or humor.
when people completely.
Who
miss
did
the
that?
point.
Mark Jones, I think.
Yeah.
Mark Jones quoted Gordon Gekko completely straight faced.
Seriously, yeah. During a game the other day, he's like, "Greed is good."
I don't know if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, I don't think you paid attention. It's like quoting the Joker from Dark Knight.
Let's just see how we got those scars.
Yeah.
All right, sound back
Looks like we're
on.
back
Oh,
on.
shit.
Looks like we're back on.
Turn that up.
See what happens, guys. We're back to the draft lottery. Blazers top
Oh, they're
4
showing
pick.
LeBron highlights.
because it's the top, comparing the top prospects.
One thing that's interesting with this Wembanyama stuff is that I feel like people are disrespecting LeBron a little bit.
Saying that he's the best prospect ever.
Or not even that, but like the
He
most
is-
exciting prospect ever, or like the most covered prospect. Like, you guys remember when LeBron
Right,
was
the game, the high school.
Yeah, the hype was
I
insane.
think most people are saying he's that best prospect since.
There, I have
but
seen.
I have seen.
I think
it,
Woj
yeah.
says he's the best prospect in the history of team sports. Is what he quoted
Yeah.
saying today.
Yeah, it's a lot of hype for a kid.
I mean, he's
that young.
7'5". That's a difference between him and LeBron.
He's a different kind of unicorn
Yeah.
for what we're used to seeing. There's not usually people that are that tall, that are that athletic and that coordinated.
Victor's saying, "Come on, Portland."
Yeah.
Go to
Yeah, he wants to go to Portland. We got that Mediterranean weather.
Nicholas Batum, come on. We'll bring Batum back if that's what it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Rockets, Spurs, Charlotte,
Portland.
Portland.
Let's move
Wow,
up.
Pistons really got.
Let's move up. Yeah, sorry, Ben. Didn't work out for you. Come on.
Not.
The Blazers. Blazers. No Blazers.
Tom Green! Come on! Let's
Come
go!
on. No Blazers. No Blazers. No Blazers.
No!
Aldridge's head.
All right.
And it's disappointing, to be honest with you. 3 is good, but
Spurs.
of course they get
Wow.
every once in a generation prospect.
Here we go with like 30 more years of Popovich coaching.
Did the Spurs deserve that the least of every team? Because I feel like they do.
That's a hell of a rebuild.
I would
by
have
them.
rather Charlotte or
In
whoever
some
else.
ways, it only makes sense though. I mean, they've always been such an international team, and yeah, that'll be interesting to see how they build around that.
So yeah,
That
look at
puts the Blazers in like the hardest situation now. Number 3 pick. What do we do with that?
It's a good pick.
It's good, but it's gonna be Damian doesn't want to rebuild. You know, he already said he doesn't want another 19-year-old on the team. So it's like it kind of puts us in the position of we have to trade that or trade him probably. I mean,
It's a pretty good trade value piece.
yeah. If you put him and Simons together,
You know,
the pick and Simons.
the conspiracy theorist in me says that this is happening because of Tony Parker, and I'm gonna run with that narrative. I feel like the
Yeah.
France to Spurs connection is already there, so they just filled through the pipeline. But dang, that sucks.
I know that was such a good run. Up to number 3.
Moving up to 3, I was thinking it was happening after that Rockets were the only
It's
one.
crazy how exciting it was and then how disappointing 3 was. It really goes to show how much of a disparity there is between the number 1 pick and everything else. It's just a difference between franchise changing and another piece that could potentially.
It's okay because
Second.
now you guys can all just get on my side
And say
and
he's
just,
overrated.
and just agree with me that
Injury prone.
in like 2 years he's gonna have more OnlyFans subscribers than minutes played.
Oh, scathing. No, but
Selling feet pics.
You don't think he could?
Size 23,
If his NBA career falls apart, there's an easy revenue stream.
Was that a Greg Oden dick pic reference?
It was, yeah.
Well, that's too bad, but like you guys said, moving up's pretty good. Brandon did a good job. Tried to help us out, but it didn't happen this time. Wasn't on the cards.
So, yeah, obviously the Scoot and Brandon Miller is probably going to be one of those two guys, right? Which Miller might fit better into the lineup right now. I mean, obviously you got to go with best, most talent, best upside.
Well, it's going to be who's left, and if Miller really is a tier higher than everyone else, I think Scoot will probably Scoot. Who got the second pick? Was it Charlotte? Oh, Charlotte might not take him because they have LaMelo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they might prefer Brandon Miller, honestly.
But they might have the talent over, take the highest talent player in their mindset too. Potentially. I mean, that's the way to win the draft, is just to take the best player and figure out the details later.
With Scoot, let's say Scoot falls to the Blazers and he's on the board at 3. That third pick has a lot of trade value. Because Scoot is seen as like the next guy. So if that's the pick and Scoot is just sitting there, a lot of teams want to trade up for that. They should give up a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Yeah.
Regardless, we probably almost want to hope that happens unless we really like a player that high. Unless a player pops and wows us.
There could be some stuff that changes over the next month or so. Mm-hmm. It seems like there usually is some shifting over the course of the last month or so of the season as the player workouts happen and player interviews happen and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, dang guys. That's too bad.
It is, but we moved up.
We moved up
2 spots.
Yeah. Well, and a few months ago we were thinking about maybe more like number 6 or 7. So we tanked to get to that 5th spot, and then we moved up to get to
this
3.
has Blazers taking Scoot Henderson, number 3.
Yeah. So if you're a believer in Scoot really high, he's like Dame's on the board there. No, but if you're a believer in Scoot and Dame doesn't want to rebuild, what do you guys do?
Yeah.
Because
I think this puts us in the toughest position as far as the most likelihood of trading Dame, honestly. I think that if it was a pick lower than 2 or 3, then you wouldn't trade Dame for that player because it doesn't have as much upside. And if you get Wembanyama, obviously you can pair him with Dame. But with that 2 or 3 spot, if you do pick another young guy with a ton of upside, it puts you in the position most likely to trade Lillard, which I'm not necessarily saying I'm for. It's just you can't, like you said many times, you can't punt on a player like that who's the number 2 or 3.
You got to get a lot of.
It could potentially end up being a franchise guy.
It could be. And so here, let me ask you guys a scenario. So you have the 3rd pick; it's locked in. Now we kind of can build a plan around that. What do you do if Dame says, "I'm not dealing with the rebuild," but then you can't find a star?
I think you have to trade him.
So you might have to trade him, right? You might have to.
Like we said last week, I told you this. I think the only solace in that is I don't think Dame is stupid enough to put the team in that position. I think he's gonna understand if there's nobody out there of real value for that pick, then he's just gonna have to suffer with another young guy, for another year or whatever it is until we can find the right deal or until something shifts in the team, something starts working.
Yeah, I mean, I could see, Dame potentially being okay with bringing in whether it's Scoot or Brandon Miller, and and then he's got Shaden and Anthony. I mean, that's a lot of talent on the team. It has to be a trade, though, is what I'm saying. But it could be a situation where Dame is okay taking on a little bit of that like mentor role for a year. Seeing how these guys play out.
Year of his prime. I get his frustration with that too, though. It's like I could understand him. I hope he probably understand. It wouldn't really do him that much benefit to say, I want to trade this young prospect for a guy who's not going to move the needle that much. So I don't think he'll do that.
So on the flip side, though, hear it out. So I don't want to trade Dame, but Scoot's there, okay? Dame doesn't want to be a part of it. You trade Dame and Ant out. You have the most athletic, explosive backcourt.
Plus picks and
plus
young guys.
All the young guys you get from Dame and Ant going out, you have a new hyper explosive backcourt and pieces to fit
It'd
around
be a
it.
hell of a rebuild.
I don't like always having losing seasons or anything, but that's a lot of young talent. That's potentially the two highest potential players, outside of Wembanyama in back-to-back drafts, because Sharp's potential's through the roof, and Scoot is a likely number one candidate in most years. So I'm just saying, as the backup plan, that's not that bad. I know. Emphasis.
Yeah, the only issue I see there, it's different than the Damian Lillard CJ backcourt, but it is a lot of guard, like you mentioned, it's a lot of guards. It's guard heavy. We still don't have a big guy in that situation, but maybe with the trade and maybe in future drafts you could get one. It's just so funny how unlucky the Blazers have been with big guys, and really their entire franchise history, and in particular recently, we just really have never had a dominant big guy. Aldridge for a few years, I guess.
Bill Walton for 1.5 years.
Yeah, Bill Walton, but even that was cursed.
Arvidas for a few years on the downhill.
Kind of cursed, yeah.
Aldridge, obviously, until he left. So, it's just, it's a guard-dominated league, so you want talent at the guard positions, but it'd be nice to have a big guy who wasn't Nurkic getting hurt every season.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll, I'm sure, have plenty of videos talking about, now that the pick's locked in, we can have a lot deeper discussions about what's going to happen with it. The draft is, over a month away, I believe. So there's time to scout the players, and the consensus will change about who's the top. Brandon Miller might even fall out. Scoot, I doubt he falls out, but we'll see.
And maybe it depends too on, what the other teams do. I mean, what if Charlotte decides that they want to trade their pick, and to someone who maybe would rather have Scoot than Brandon Miller, so something like that could happen that could throw the whole thing out of whack.
Or the Spurs trading the number one pick to the Blazers.
That's the one that I don't see.
Jeremy
Grant.
Yeah, that's not happening. The Spurs, and you know what's the worst part about it? The Spurs are the most team in the league that has the least amount of talent. They have no talented players on their entire roster except for him. That's not a place to go to
Johnson, bro.
Yeah. You got
Devin
Popovich,
Vassell.
but their roster's like spare parts. Like
that's how they got him. That's how they got him.
Don't you think that if they might be able to attract some talent though, with people who?
I think it might take some time for them to. They're probably going to want to build young guys around them. It could be kind of it could be an ascending team of the next few years, but I don't think it'll be very quick ascension. Like when they got Tim Duncan, they already had David Robinson in place and a bunch of veteran guys. So
exactly,
it might take a while for them to really build a team around them.
They need to go out and get Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, what do they get
Edwards
other than Wembanyama? What do they have to give up for him?
Yeah, exactly. No talent there other than Victor, but.
Yeah, it's going to take a few years, probably a few more draft picks, a few more lean years. So, yeah, he could put up some big numbers next year, though.
Maybe he might be able to.
Unless he breaks his foot in preseason.
Between massive, catastrophic lower body injuries.
You know what? And if he gets injured, that would suck because we don't wish injuries on anybody.
But
then Riley would say, look what I was talking about.
I really see the potential. Obviously, we would have taken him if we got number one because you have to. And there's a real possibility that he could go the Giannis route, although even Giannis is starting to fall apart a little bit. But it's just too tall. I don't really see it working out long term. Might get a few great years out of him, but I don't think he's going to be pulling a LeBron into his 40s or anything. Yeah. But it'll be interesting to watch his career develop.
Should we move on to talk about the playoffs for a minute or two before we get out of here?
Yeah.
We're on to the conference finals now. I think, I did the math on I think Riley's now leading the predictions. I think like by one, and me and you are tied, something like that. But yeah, basically he got the Nuggets right. We both took the Suns. I think all of us took the Warriors.
Yeah.
I took the Knicks. You guys both took the Heat. And we all took the Celtics. And so now we got the Celtics and Heat in the East, Denver and LA in the West. What do you guys think? What's the NBA Finals matchup? Anyone want to start with their Western Conference picks, I guess? We'll start with the West.
Yeah,
Considering this game is just about to tip off, Nuggets and Lakers in Denver. should be a really good series. I'm excited to see both conference finals, as everyone's heard, rematch from the bubble, the Mickey Mouse ring years. So, but I think Denver probably a better team than they were in the bubble. I think the Lakers supporting cast, it's like they're still good, but not as veteran. I would say they're having a great playoffs though. Every time I've been doubting the Lakers all year long, and they keep proving me wrong. They really every step of the way I've been like, no, and they prove me wrong. So it's hard to go against them again. But
yeah, I think in a long series, which I think it will be a long series, I think that Denver will eventually be able to make the adjustments and eke out a victory over the Lakers, because I just think the Lakers are already a little tired, and I think they're going to get more tired. And I think
LeBron's bum wheel.
Denver is better coached. Denver has a lot of momentum and experience right now. So, yeah, I see Denver winning this series.
Were you picking Denver for sure? Locking it in?
I got Denver, yeah.
I don't want to pick LA. I want to make up ground on Riley somehow. I don't want to pick LA. I really see Denver probably winning the series in 6 games. I just think that Jokic is too much to handle. And while Anthony Davis is a good guy to throw at him, Jokic, if he plays top down and brings Davis out of the paint and just distributes from the top of the key, I think that'll unlock everything and make it.
Take Davis out of the paint. Exactly. So that's where he's the most effective as interior defense. And the most success the Warriors had against the Lakers was Steph or Anthony Davis's man coming out and doing a pick and roll. And they got that Murray-Jokic 2-man game to handle that. I kind of actually think that the Lakers might start the series. I guess we're about to find out. But I think they might start the series with, try Vanderbilt or something like that on Jokic, just to
put Davis on Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I think Gordon will probably play LeBron on the other side of the floor, and Jokic will probably play Davis. But yeah, there's a lot of good matchups. I think it'll be fun to see the coaching strategy and the matchups throughout that series. But yeah, I think that it's tough. I mean, the Lakers, they've looked really good so far. Austin Reeves, man, he's playing out of his fucking mind right now.
Yeah.
And there are other young guys, Hachimura and D'Lo is really impressed.
The Golden Snitch.
That Minnesota fan that commented on how good D'Angelo Russell was, how he's better than Wiggins. And they shut up to us, I guess, even though he's not on your team anymore.
The Golden Snitch.
Is that Russell?
Yeah. Remember when he was on the Lakers the first time and snitched on Nick Young with Iggy Azalea and got him in trouble? So I call him the Golden Snitch because it's just the perfect nickname.
You didn't come up with that. That's Reddit,
I swear
right?
I've never.
You came up with that? Oh, okay, that's pretty sick.
Never. I mean, there could be a name already out there, but I have not heard.
I thought you probably saw that on Reddit or something.
No, that's a Colton special. Well, in the East, who do you guys got?
I think, I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics. I think that they, they made it to the finals last year. I love Jimmy, and this run has been awesome, but I think that the depth disparity will start to show itself. It's just a bunch of undrafted guys who've been playing way above their pay grade, and I just think that the Celtics will probably eat that one out. But I think it'll be a good series, and I guess we'll see. It seemed like Tatum finally found himself in that last series. He was struggling until Game 4, the fourth quarter of Game 6 when he erupted, and he didn't stop erupting in Game 7 either. 51 broke the record for most points in a Game 7. Jaylen Brown, they just have so many options and guys that can kind of guard, put a body on Jimmy, try to wear him down a little bit. Maybe they got options to put on Adebayo too, Williams and Horford. So I think that just their talent will overwhelm the Heat finally.
Yeah, I shirtless Jimmy was pretty entertaining. I don't know if you saw, saying that this
Pudgy Lowry who would take off his shirt,
that this is their year, and God, yeah, part of me really, really wants to believe that the Heat can keep this run going because it would be pretty exciting, and they've looked just sort of unstoppable. And if the Celtics leave any kind of a door open, if the Celtics drop one at home in of the first two,
which they are known for
They're
doing.
known to do. And if that happens, it's very possible that the Heat bust in and never stop and finish the series out. But yeah, the Celtics seem like they have to be the better team. So I'm going to go with the Celtics, but I'm kind of rooting for the Heat.
This is where I make up my ground. I'm picking the Heat. Oof. Don't doubt Jimmy Butler.
I was so tempted to do it.
Here's the thing.
Let's go.
Here's the
Let's
thing.
go Heat.
You said it. Shirtless Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy said it's his year. I want you guys to look something up from last year. Last year, the Heat went up to the conference finals, lost to the Celtics. What did Jimmy say after the conference finals? We're gonna fix some things around, and next year we're gonna beat them. That's what he said last year.
He was one in and out shot away from beating them too.
Guess what? He spoke it into existence, and it's gonna happen. Heat are gonna upset the Celtics, 8th seed in the finals. Here's the reasons why.
I hope so.
Spoelstra coaches circles around any coach. Okay, so even if they have undrafted players, that doesn't matter.
Missoula's been a little shaky too.
I feel like the 76ers were not as good as 7 games against the Celtics, who should be a better team. That made me question them a little bit. And not only that, Bam. Bam is such a nightmare matchup in terms of Jaylen Brown and Tatum setting screen and rolls and stuff like that. Bam can switch onto them and guard them better than 99% of the centers that get put on them. So if you put Jimmy on, the off-ball guy, whether it's Tatum or Brown, and then Bam gets switched on to, the other one, I think that's a recipe for success for the Heat. I think the Heat are going to win in 7.
That would be such an awesome matchup, Denver and Miami. Who would have saw that one?
The league would hate it. It'd also be a 1 versus 8 matchup, which would be crazy.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a vision a few nights ago. I think it's going to be Jokic's year, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I see him winning the ring this year. He's just been on such a tear. He looks so unstoppable, so unfazed by the pressure. I honestly think that the West could be kind of the matchup to determine who's the champ. Who comes out of the West, I think, is probably going to be the favorite. Boston is obviously good, but they seem shaky to me. And Miami is just like the talent. Other than Jimmy and Bam are awesome, and those undrafted guys are playing really well, and they're super well coached. But can that take you to a championship? I'm not so sure.
We'll find out.
Yeah,
I don't doubt Spoelstra anymore.
No one else taking championship picks at this time, at this stage.
I mean,
Denver. I think it's Denver's year.
You know what?
No, you
Jimmy!
Jimmy! A Jimmy ring would be the most exciting, the hypest ring since Dirk. 2011.
8 seeds winning it. Let's do it.
That would be insane if he took 9 undrafted players and got him a ring. That'd be sick.
I think that if the Heat can beat Boston, they'd have a real shot because I think they'd actually match up fairly well against Denver. But yeah, I think it's going to be the Celtics in Denver, and I think it'll be Denver over the Celtics because I also have questions about Boston, their coaching, their stability, things like that.
Chris Vanarakis commented, "Let's go, hype." I don't know if you're still watching, Chris, but shout out. We love you, man.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Looks like the game's about to start. I guess we'll go watch it now. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Blazers got the number 3 pick.
Pick number 3, my lord.
It's okay. Wembanyama is going to be a huge bust anyway, right?
Of course. It's all about Brandon Miller.
he's a straight shooter. See you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Can't stop it. Bye. I wish I could stop it from my computer. That would be nice.